We are coming live once again for your monthly market update. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope the weather is better when you're watching this than it is presently. If you're watching it at this moment, we've got some rumbly weather outside. But thank you for jumping in and checking out This Month in Housing with the Mixon real estate team. We are going to be looking at our latest market update for the kind of what has happened in first quarter of 2020. Can you believe it? We're in April. We're already done with first quarter. So we're going to look at what happened in first quarter, some quick information about March standalone, but then looking at what happened overall in first quarter, how does that compare to the last 2 years, and then talking about what to expect looking forward in our market. Again, if you are watching this live, please be careful today. We have got some crazy weather for today here. Hopefully nothing is going to be too severe. But I know these days with the tornadoes we've had come through over the last few years, everybody gets a little on edge when we get some of these bigger storms coming over us. So as you can see, I'm at my home office today. Just kind of figured it was better to stay at home, stay out of the weather, work from home. The team's kind of working from home today just to be on the safe side. And it takes me back to the COVID days. It's really been... Golly, it's been over a year since I did a market update with you guys at my home office. I think I've pretty much been doing them all at the office downtown. So this kind of takes us back to, the COVID madness and craziness when I was broadcasting to you from my home office. And ironically, we are right at the 2-year mark that I started doing these market updates. We started the market updates back during the shutdown when everybody was at home and really kind of wondering what was happening in our real estate market. Of course, we were wondering what was happening in the world, period, but most definitely what was happening in the real estate market. So I started doing these. Originally, they were weekly updates. Now we are once a month looking back at the previous month and looking ahead into the upcoming months. So here we are in April. Our spring real estate season has started. So we are definitely in the height of the season for our typical real estate busy. It's always busy, but this is our busier real estate season. Usually runs about March through July, and that also coincides with PCS season for Fort Benning, which has a big impact on our local real estate market. So jumping into some numbers, I want to look at closeout of March in Harris and Muscogee County, and then kind of that first quarter wrap up. So we'll jump into those numbers, and then I'll talk quickly about what we're kind of looking at coming into the late spring and into early summer, what it looks like we can expect as far as real estate market goes here locally. So looking at March 2022 in Muscogee and Harris County, we had 277 closed sales as compared to 2021, where we had 313, and 2020 where there were about 253. Obviously, you can see kind of that lower number in 2020 had to do with kind of the crazy shift that was happening in March with COVID a couple of years ago. So currently there are about 240 active listings in Muscogee and Harris County and about 531 pending sales. So still very low inventory. I mean, I'm like a broken record talking about low inventory these days. It's pretty much been low inventory for almost 2 years now, or right at 2 years. Okay, so let's look at first quarter, kind of that bigger picture wrap up of where everything ended. So first quarter 2020 in Muscogee and Harris County, we closed out 804 sales. In 2021, we closed out 763, and in 2020, we closed out 662. So you can certainly see, year over year, we've had an increase in the number of closed sales, ironically, as there has been a decrease in actual volume on the market. So that's kind of a cool thing to see. Average days on the market in Muscogee and Harris County for first quarter was about 33 days on the market. In 2021, it was about 39 days on the market, and pretty significant difference. First quarter of 2020, average time on the market was about 77 days. And what you'll notice is our lack of inventory really drives like number of days, average days on the market, and our lack of inventory really started to hit strong in 2020. That's where the buyer market really started to become even more competitive. Average sale price, meaning what did in our Muscogee, Harris County area for actual closed listings first quarter, what was the average sales price? So average sales price first quarter was $240,400. In 2021 first quarter, it was $222,000. And in 2020 first quarter, the average sales price was $183,200. So that's a pretty significant change in overall pricing, which as the market has become more competitive in this in this seller market season, it has driven pricing up as buyers bid up on houses, and we're going to talk about that after I go through numbers. But you can definitely see that home value and price increase, which has been exciting. List to sale price percentage. So what did it list for? What did it sell for? What did it close out for? First quarter 2022, it was about 99.48% of list price. So almost 100% of list price, which tells you the seller's not making big negotiations these days. In 2021, it was 99.36, so just slightly under that. And in 2020, the list to sale price was about 96.65%. So definitely a pretty good jump on those numbers from 2021 and 2022. Let's move ahead to Russell and Lee County. So this is from the East Alabama Board of Realtors. So in March, just looking at March real quick, there were about 143 closed sales in Russell and Lee County. In 2021, it was about 137 closed sales, and in 2022, it was about 116 closed sales. So between 2021 and 2022, not a huge difference in number of closed sales, and that's pretty much been on par with the lower inventory status in Russell and Lee County as well. There are currently 102 active listings and 254 pending listings. Of course, whenever I talk about active and pending listings, let me remind you that's a snapshot number. That was first thing this morning when I pulled those stats, and those numbers change constantly as homes come on the market through the day and go under contract through the day. But that just gives you kind of a good rough guideline there. Let's look at how first quarter closed out in Russell and Lee County. All right, so first quarter of this year, there were a total of 408 sales. In 2021, there were 337 closed sales, and in 2020, 309. Average days on the market for first quarter of this year was 29 days. 2021 was 41 days, and 2020 was 98 days. So look at what a drastic drop in time on the market that we've had in Russell and Lee County over the last 3 years. That's pretty significant. Average sales price for first quarter was $240,000, right on par with Muscogee and Harris County. 2021, the average sales price was about $206,000, and 2020 was about $183,400. List to sale price percentage, 2022, this first quarter, was 99.9% list to sale price. So just about 100% there. And I know we've seen in Russell and Lee County, we've seen a lot more of the 100% plus on list to sale price. So maybe we could say there was a slight bit of negotiation that happened potentially. Some of that, quite honestly, has been from the appraisal side of things with us pushing the market. Okay, so 2021 list to sale price percentage was 98.64, and in 2020, 98.1. So not quite as significant of a change over the last 3 years in the list to sale price percentage as there was in Muscogee County, but both Muscogee and Harris County, and Muscogee and Harris County, along with Russell and Lee County, are both seeing near 100% list to sale price. So that just tells you a lot about what's happening in the market. So let's talk a minute, and I'm not going to keep you long because I know I can get long-winded, so I'm not going to do that today. Let's talk quickly about some of the stuff that's going on in the market. First of all, we've seen interest rates rise some. Not anything crazy high. Interest rates are still phenomenal right now, but they are ticking up, and that will have, over the long term, I think the Fed has said that they're planning to raise interest rates 6 to 7 times this year. I think I heard yesterday, like, the next potential increase might be in May, so, well, I mean, I'm sure that's subject to change at all times. But my point being, as interest rates start to increase, it will have an impact on buyer power, meaning how much somebody qualifies for versus their debt to income ratio, kind of all these figures going into what their qualification is. As interest rates go up, their payment goes up. So it may impact the buying power they have in the price range that they're looking in. So I guess the easy way to put it is, if a buyer's interest rate has gone up, they may not be able to buy the same price point home. In order to get that same payment, they might have to drop back and price point a little bit. So that will, over a longer term, impact some of our pricing and pricing strategies. That will, as interest rates go up, at least my opinion is, we will see a leveling out of some of the pricing in our market at some point. We're not seeing those corrections quite so much just yet. It's still pretty competitive out there. But as that interest rate climate changes, I think the buyer climate will change on how they're making offers, and maybe some of that crazy some of the crazy stuff we see in contracts right now, like over list price offers, appraisal gap guarantees, those types of things may become a little bit less over the long term of this. Now, having said that, that hasn't changed right now. So right now we are still seeing a lot of competitiveness within offers, meaning buyers coming to the table saying, hey, we're offering this price over list price. If the home doesn't appraise, we will pay an appraisal gap fee of a specific amount, guaranteeing you an overappraised value number up to that purchase price in the event that the home doesn't appraise for the purchase price. That's a whole nother show to talk about, because that is quite an interesting process of how all those numbers come together and how all that works. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is some of that is probably going to change as interest rates change in our market. So for right now, I was actually talking with some clients yesterday. One of the things that I kind of something I heard a few days ago or a couple weeks ago, and I was like, that is really on point. In years past, we talked about list price, and list price was really more of a seller, like that's the number they were trying to achieve. Within a buyer market and negotiations with a buyer, the seller was hoping to get as close to list price with as little negotiation as possible, but the list price was kind of the finish line, the end goal. If we can get list price, we're really excited. But in many cases, there was some level of negotiation. Even if they got list price, they were paying closing costs, those kind of things. So the mindset for list price for many buyers has always been in the last 15 years, oh, that's the number. And so it was pretty common prior to the seller's market for a buyer to come in under list price. It's been very interesting how that has changed, that mindset has changed as we have been in this pretty strong seller's market for a few years. So now the list price is really not a list price. We really shouldn't even call it list price. We really need to call it starting price, because for a seller and the mindset of this seller market, that list price is a suggested beginning. It is not the end anymore. It is the beginning of that race, not the finish line. So it's kind of been funny these days when we get offers that are at list price. Most of the time, my client goes, oh, well, that's nice, but we're going to wait and see what else we get. Because the expectation is an over list price offer. So for many buyers and buyer agents, it really has become important to change that mindset from list price being the finish line to list price being the starting line. It is the starting point for bids, and in hopes that it's going to bid up from there. So with all of that, I do think that at some point down the road in the market, it's going to shift and we're going to get back to more of a different mindset one day when the market shifts back to a buyer's market, because it will, it always does. But for right now, it's helpful if you're in the buyer market to understand the seller mindset, and that is that the list price is a starting price. It's a suggested beginning. And anything you can do to improve on that number within your negotiations from a seller perspective is what becomes priority in getting the offer accepted. So if you're a buyer out there in the market that says, I'm not paying a penny over list price, that's cute. Good for you. Let us know how that works out. You might want to rethink that strategy if you really want to get in a home and change your mindset with what the market is right now. And if you don't want to pay over a list price, maybe you look at homes that have been sitting on the market for a little while. Those sellers may very well be a little more negotiable, but a house that came on the market yesterday, this seller's probably not feeling real froggy about negotiating off their list price, or even at list price for that matter. So those are my tips. Looking ahead into the spring, we are still expecting a good, strong seller's market, still very competitive with low inventory. It will be very interesting, and we'll be watching closely to see what happens with interest rates and keeping you guys up to date on that. If you've got any specific questions, whether it relates to just our market in general or about property that you have, trying to figure out if now's the best time to sell, if now's the best time to buy, kind of all these questions, we are here to help you with that. We can get you the answers you need based on your specific circumstances, because everybody's circumstance is different. But we can help guide you through what's going on in this current market and how that might impact your timing and decisions. So again, if you are here local watching this, stay safe today. Weather's looking kind of crazy. Hopefully it won't be anything too bad. But it definitely is not, it's not a pretty sunny day today. So stay safe, stay dry. Stay tuned, because we will bring you more information. If you like this post, if you enjoy this information, please like it, share it, tag friends below. If you've got questions, drop them in the comments and I'll get them answered, or reach out to me directly. My email address is kim@kimmixon.com. Super easy, so you can always message me there. My cell phone number is 706-332-6349. So if you need to text me or call me, please feel free to do that as well. Myself or anyone on the team is here to serve you in your real estate needs. So let us know how we can help. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and we will be back in May with our monthly market update, looking back at April. And let's see, it's Tuesday, April 5th, so it's gonna be May like tomorrow. It feels like it'll be here like this. So enjoy. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.